Hello YouTube, message in the bottle here with another video. Now, I finally beat the game, the story mode of Frostpunk 2, and I gotta admit, it left me constantly wondering about uh, the real world issues, the world that we live in today. This game is a very well made game, and personally, I recommend it. I recommend this game. It's very well made, and it left me thinking about world issues, the real world that we live in today, because this game it has a lot of reflection, a lot of ideology, and it literally talks about psychology on a human level, where in-group preferences, kind of dictates how we live in our society. And the reason why I'm saying all this gibberish stuff is because what this video is about is more like what I'm aligned to, what me personally I rather side with. Now, if I were to teleport into the Frostpunk 2 universe, and out of all the factions that this game features, I would definitely side with the Stalwart. The Stalwart, in my opinion, they're very pragmatic, and it makes more sense when you think about the world they live in, the society they're trying their best to build, and more importantly, how they want humanity to progress. Now, there are some things that are very too radicalized, but in this game, what I love about this game is that you could be very flexible with the whole ideology, and you could like take a little side with other people with different ideas here and there. Um, that's something I like about this game, and this game lets you play as either an evil tyrant or a benevolent leader that genuinely cares about their people. So me, I sided with the steward, and I did my best to care for the people, even the opposition, people that are against me. Um, the way the story ends, well, there's so many like different ways for the story end. It's one of those games where you have options of how the main story progress and how the story is going to end depending on your decision. And me, I chose the being a nice leader option, and I managed to end the game where you could say it's a happy ending. It was a tragic minor story where the city had its civil war, because the different factions were fighting against each other over ideology of how things should run. But in the end, the way I choose my decision in the game, I managed to make it into a happy ending where everyone now lives peaceful, and the opposition, they have their own little country where they get to rule how they see fit. Meanwhile, the stewards, they still dominate the main city of their own country. Now, why I'm talking about this game, why I'm talking about this whole ideology shenanigans, it's because for the longest time in my life, I the only thing I ever wish for myself is live a happy life, but more importantly, have a life of a sense of security. I'm not gonna sugarcoat what I believe in, guys. I'm just gonna say what I want to say. Me, I personally don't like living in ghetto area, and that's kind of ironic. Oops, sorry guys, my phone is ringing. And that's kind of ironic for me to say that because in my early life, I literally grew up in the ghetto, and you could say the ghetto really did traumatize me. I've seen some crazy stuff out there. But what's ironic about my personal life is that I also grew up with people that are a little bit on the wealthier side. And there's something I notice about people on the wealthier side. It's their habits, it's their mindset. And it's something that I kind of cater and gravitate towards. And more importantly, I've noticed the type of society that they contribute into. what I'm basically saying here is that people in general, the type of people makes okay, people in general they make a society, and the type of people that makes a society contributes to it, if that makes any sense. And the reason why I'm saying this is because it's literally no brainer. Right now, there's a lot of controversy talk about politics, ethnicity, race, religion, etc., etc. Especially nowadays, with the youth being even more obsessed with it, the whole left versus right thing. But as I stated, guys, all I want is me personally is live a happy life and live a life with a sense of security. Now, what do I mean a sense of security? It's because when I was growing up in a ghetto, um, I saw in my own eyes the sheer randomness of how the ghetto could take a lot of things from you. And when I was like witnessing how the wealthier people live, I noticed a sense of security that they had that I wish I had with it. Like I wish to live among them. And as I'm growing up, this is why I got into communism, especially when I was a teenager. I like the idea of communism, but over time I realized communism is a sham, and it's an obvious ideology that would not work, especially if it's implemented for real. I do like capitalism in the sense of merit. I always believe that merit should be something value, because if you work very hard, you deserve more. But if you work less, then you deserve less. That's just my personal opinion, but I do believe in a level of merit. And that being said, what I wish even more, especially for everybody, not just myself, is a sense of security. And that's why I admire the Japanese culture a lot. Yes, I'm one of those weeaboos, but a weeaboo who appreciates the Japanese culture and their society. It is said that in Japan, it is so safe over there that you could fall asleep in the street and all your belongings will still be there with you. It is so safe in Japan that it is said that a woman could go out at night and not get harassed or kidnapped or anything horrible happen to them. The crime rate is super low. It is so low that I think it's reported that the crime rate. I'm trying to think because I remember seeing a statistic report saying that it is one of the lowest in the world, so low that sometimes the police they actually get very bored over there and they start looking for other minor things just to get a little busy in a serious manner. But imagine that. And more importantly, and this is the most fascinating part, their city, Tokyo, is one of the largest city in the world. Now, when it comes to mega cities tends to be high crime rates, disorganized, tends to be ghetto, especially in certain areas. But Tokyo is nothing like that. And more importantly, megacities they're kind of reliant on cars. But Tokyo is one of those places that is so well made. The city itself is so well made that you could live in Tokyo without a car for years. The train system is fantastic. The system for bicycling is fantastic. So, as you can imagine, guys, I have a high admiration for Japan, but I constantly wonder what's their secret. Well, it's obvious. It's culture. It's the people itself, Japanese people. Which, by the way, as of me making this video, Japan is having a you could say anti-immigration popularity in terms of party, like political party, on the rise in Japan. And that's because Japan kind of opened its borders to the world, and a lot of foreigners that don't respect Japanese society, they started to piss off a lot of Japanese people, and as a result, Japan is starting to become more similar to what you see here in America. the rise of quote unquote right wingers. And to me, it's not surprising because Japan, what makes Japan is its people. And this is something that I'm trying to get at here in this video. Starting with this example of the video game Frostpunk 2. If I was in Frostpunk 2, I would side with the Stalwarts because I think what's very valuable in society and culture is the sense of order. You need order, you need a sense of hierarchy in order to make society work, function like a well oiled machine. Japan is like that. They have a sense of order. Like, if you guys pay attention to how Japanese live in their society, they highly value order, cleanliness, maintenance, and tradition. Now, I'm not saying Japan is perfect. There's a lot of wrong things about Japan here and there. That's why their population is declining. That's why they have a very high divorce rate, very high suicide rate, and even the stress level in Japan is like very stressful over there. But still, Japan is one of those countries that I honestly admire because they they build a society that actually works, if that makes any sense. So the stewards in Frostpunk 2 is kind of like the version of the Japanese, but in Britain style. And the only thing that I kind of notice, if the stewards were a real faction in real life, they'll be called a Nazi because of their some of their political ideology. But what's funny is that in Frostpunk 2, they have nothing about race. Everybody is essentially the same in Frostpunk 2. But the reason why I call them, people will call them as Nazis because of their obsession with order and merit. And in my opinion, I think that's laughable because nowadays people could be seen as a Nazi. I think what people really want, and this is why right wingers are becoming even more popular as time go by, is something that works. Like, people want to see America get back on its feet, start thriving, and more importantly, people in America have a sense of security, not being scared to go out without getting shot, not getting scared of losing their job, and more importantly, just live a good life. That's all people ask for. And this is why I'm making this video because I want to express my thoughts about this. This game, Frostpunk 2, is a very well made game, and like I said, if I were to teleport in the Frostpunk 2 universe, I would side with Stewart because I want to be part of something that works, but more importantly, have a sense of security. When I sided with the Stewards in Frostpunk 2, the city that I was building was abundant with resources and goods, and people were actually happy in the city. The only thing that issue I was having when I was playing Frostpunk 2 was the political opposition, where other factions were opposed to the Stewards' ideas, and they had like a mini civil war. But what's funny is that the Stewards, their ideas, they made the city work. They made progress. They made, you know, a sense of security for its citizens. So, yeah, it's kind of sad that people are willing to throw away progress, um, civil, civil order, just for the sake of their own ideology. And this is why I truly believe the leftists, they're losing this culture war, because people could see it right through it. People could see the insanity that, hey, your ideology is not working in real life. More than anything, it's destroying everything that we wish for. And people in China, they just wish for a happy life. Like, they just want a sense of security, a sense of, like a little stress free lifestyle. something that gravitates towards be to build a better future for themselves and for the children's. But the leftists, yeah, they're destroying everything about that, making everything more ghetto. Well, guys, I'm gonna end this rant here. But please like and subscribe. But more importantly, leave a comment down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I want to hear what you guys think about this whole political situation, especially here in America. Well, guys, thank you for listening. And message in a bottle over and out.